just make yourself comfortable. And when you're ready, you can close your eyes. Now, just be comfortable and relax the whole body as much as you can. It doesn't matter if you feel you need to move slightly every now and again. You don't have to be absolutely still. Just relax. Now, I want you to take a deep breath in and hold it for a moment before breathing out slowly, just allowing your whole body to relax as you do so. And I want you to keep your eyes closed now and just keep listening to the sound of my voice. You may be aware of other sounds too. Sounds inside the building, sounds from outside, maybe passing traffic, but these won't disturb you. In fact, they'll help you to relax, because for you, the world outside is absolutely unimportant to you. The only sound you're interested in is the sound of my voice here. And while you're listening to the sound of my voice, I want you to concentrate for a moment on your breathing. Breathing slowly and steadily and evenly. And as you breathe out each time, just allow your whole body to relax more and more. Now, I would like for you to think about the top of your head. Many people don't realize that tension often starts in the little muscles of the scalp. So I want you to think about those little muscles and the skin of your scalp, and just allow them to let go and relax. Now, all the muscles of your face, just let them go slack. Your forehead and your eyes and eyelids, the cheeks, mouth and jaw muscles. It's a wonderful feeling when you let your face totally relax, because you can actually feel the skin settling, smoothing out, unclenching your teeth and relaxing your tongue, because the more you physically relax, the more you can mentally relax. Thinking about your neck and shoulder muscles now, and into the tops of your arms, letting all tensions drain away as you think on down through your elbows, into your forearms, down through your wrists and into your hands, right the way down to the very tips of your fingers and the tips of your thumbs. Just letting all those muscles let go and relax. And now, think again about your breathing, noticing that you're breathing even more steadily, even more slowly, as you relax more and more. so you can let any tension in the chest area simply drain away as you think on down to your stomach muscles, letting those muscles relax too, and your waist and your thigh muscles as you think on down through your knees, down through the shins and calves, just allowing all those areas to relax and let go. As you think on down through your ankles, through your feet, into the very tips of your toes, all the muscles of your body beautifully relaxed and easy, very lazy. And now you're so beautifully relaxed, nobody wanting anything, nobody expecting anything, and absolutely nothing whatsoever for you to do except for to relax. I want you to let your mind and your imagination drift, feeling lazy, easy and comfortable. And I want you to imagine that you're standing on the terrace of a lovely old house, a house like a stately home or a country mansion. You can feel the sun on your head and shoulders, not too hot, just comfortable. And there's a gentle breeze playing against your skin. As you look around you, you notice an elegant flight of steps, 10 broad steps leading down into a beautiful garden. A garden where you sense peace, well-being and comfort. Make it really vivid in your mind. In a moment, I am going to count down from 10 down to 0. And as I count down, all the way down from 10 down to 0, I want you to imagine that each number is a step down on this beautiful staircase, a step down towards this beautiful garden, and each step you take is another step down into deeper and even deeper levels of relaxation, so that by the time I get to 0, you will be as deeply relaxed as you can ever imagine, while still being able to hear and respond to the sound of my voice. 10. Take the first step down now, relaxing and letting go. 9. Feeling more and more relaxed. No need to hurry, there's plenty of time. 8. Moving down easily now. 7. Deeper and deeper. 6. Deeper still, your breathing becoming slower and steadier. 5. Really relaxing now, just let go. 4. Becoming calmer and calmer. 3. calmer still now. 2. More and more relaxed. 1. All the way down now to 0. And now you find yourself in this wonderful garden. You can feel the softness of the newly cut grass beneath your feet as the scent of masses upon masses of brightly coloured flowers seem to envelop you. And there's a gentle sound of birds singing, echoing faintly in the stillness of the air. It's almost a magical place, stretching into the distance as far as the eye can see in all directions, with beautiful shrubs, tall, elegant trees, and an ornamental fountain which seems to feed into a gently trickling stream. This fascinates you, and you wander to the edge of the stream and gently lower yourself down onto the soft, grassy bank and just sit for a while, gazing into the cool, clear waters, marveling at the sense of tranquility that sweeps over you, and listening to the faint sound of the fountain splashing into the pool that feeds this gentle stream. After a while, you lay back on the grass and gaze up at the clearest of blue skies. And as you relax more and more, your eyes begin to close and you just drift off into a deep and relaxing sleep. And as you sleep, you have a dream. You dream that your whole body is becoming lighter, lighter and lighter, so light that you feel you must surely begin to float on air at any moment. And then you feel yourself just floating and drifting, gently borne aloft and supported by the softest of warm breezes. And you can somehow see through your closed eyelids that you're floating in a sea of colour, a warm sea of colour that relaxes and comforts you as you just drift, suspended in warmth and colour that seems somehow unreal and yet at the same time has a comforting, familiar feel to it. You're aware of misty reds and orange, soft, muted yellow tones, gentle greens and blues that seem somehow like clouds, and the deepest, softest indigos and violets that you could ever have imagined. And it begins to dawn on you that you're floating in a rainbow, a magical rainbow, because in this rainbow, time and space doesn't exist in the same way that we usually know it. You might have floated there for just a moment, or for 100 years, maybe for a lifetime, or just perhaps for the blinking of an eye. You could have floated forwards in time to a time that could be far beyond our future, or maybe back in time, back before your own lifetime. It gradually begins to seem to you that you might even be able to float here for just as long as you wish, with this wonderful relaxed feeling, just floating and drifting through this magical sea of gentle flowing colours, where time seems to be suddenly of so little importance. You're still pondering on these thoughts when you feel yourself beginning to float gently downwards, lower and lower, softly sinking down through this beautiful rainbow, becoming even more relaxed, even more lazy, until eventually you realize that you've stopped floating downwards and you find yourself on the shore of a tranquil lake, a large tranquil lake surrounded by softly rolling hills that are shrouded in a gentle silver mist. There are trees and sweetly scented flowering shrubs and grasses growing at the water's edge, and everything is bathed in a beautiful golden light, a golden light that seems to bathe everything in its warmth. And you find yourself marveling at the sense of deep calmness and comfort that seems to fill your entire being as you stroll lazily along the sandy shore of this wonderful lake, noticing with a sort of lazy curiosity that it seems to be constantly changing colour. Subtle changes blending so smoothly that it's difficult for you to know exactly when limpid blue has become a deep, soft violet, or when that deep violet became a relaxing, translucent green. The changes of colour fascinate you, and you settle yourself down onto a smooth rock and just gaze out across the crystal clear waters. You toss a stone and watch it as it skips across the clear, calm surface of the waters. The stone skips once, twice, 3 times and more, each time the interval shorter as it loses momentum, slowing down more and more. As it strikes the surface, the peace and tranquility is disturbed. The water flows in ripples that spread in perfect rings. But soon the stone can skip no more. all momentum is dissipated, its power lost, and so it slips quietly down beneath the surface, gently floating down before coming to rest at the bottom of the tranquil lake. The calmness of the waters are restored. You smile and lean forward to dabble your hand in the waters. And as you do so, you create yet more ripples. Ripples that shimmer in a kaleidoscope of different colours across the lake, interacting with the others and making new, ever-changing patterns. You realise that this tranquil place is the pool of all knowledge, that while you are here, you are part of everything, and everything a part of you, and you find it easy, so very easy, to open your mind, to let go of any barriers to memory or learning. And now your mind is prepared and receptive to everything that I am going to say. And everything that I say, if it is for your benefit, will be accepted and acted upon by the subconscious. It will have a steadily increasing effect upon the way that you think, the way you feel, and the way you behave. And the influence of these suggestions, as they are for your benefit, will continue to increase over the coming days and weeks and months. Your subconscious mind can be your greatest asset, and it has confirmed that it is helping you to relax, helping you to cope so much better with life, and giving you a confidence within yourself to deal with any situation that life has to offer. Your subconscious mind has also given you a new understanding of yourself, and this understanding gives you the power to make vital changes for your benefit. So, now, with every day that passes, your confidence is increasing. The confidence of knowing that you are capable of doing whatever you set your mind to, with a positive attitude and a quiet strength. More and more, you become aware of a transformation taking place in your personality, and you are adopting a more positive outlook on life. You believe in yourself more every day, and you are learning to act boldly, realizing that you are fully capable of making the proper decisions and having the confidence to carry them through. So, each and every day you become more secure within yourself. With your new relaxed attitude, both towards yourself and towards others. You realize that you are gaining control of your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions. And this gives you a tremendous feeling of satisfaction, knowing that whatever happens, you can deal with the situation in a calm and relaxed way. You know that the key to good health is a calm and relaxed attitude towards life. Now you begin to accept life as it is, and you accept people as they are. So, as you continue to relax more and more with every day that passes, you feel better within yourself and about yourself. This gives you the opportunity to become more aware of the wide range of the resources which are yours. So, as you continue to relax more and more with every day that passes, you feel better within yourself and about yourself. This gives you the opportunity to become more aware of the wide range of the resources which are yours, resources which are within you, which are there for your use. As you become more aware of these resources, then you become more and more confident. And with these new resources, you know that you are directing your life now, and you know that life can bring the good things to you. In this way, you are happier with each day that passes. Anticipate happiness, and happiness is yours. And of course you feel better each day because you are happy. And you can take this opportunity to quietly reflect upon these ideas as you recognize now that the ability is yours to relax, to let go of tension, anxieties, aware now of your ability to see things in a different way, and to accept those things that seem to be one thing and then turned out to be something else entirely. Those things that you used to dream about can now become a reality as you relax there, listening to the sound of my voice here. And I want to remind you that life can be fun. Every phase of your life can be a joy. And of course, it all depends on you, because you, and only you, can allow thoughts to live in your mind. And how you think determines how you feel, and how you feel influences the world around you. And you can learn to choose the thoughts with awareness of their power. You can seed beneficial thoughts in your mind, and day by day you'll find more and more how important it is to choose your every thought with care, because the thoughts you seed in your mind, the concepts and beliefs you accept with feeling, inevitably become your own living reality. How you choose to think today influences all your tomorrows, and your life is far too valuable, too miraculous to be left to chance. You may of course wonder how the subconscious mind can so easily arrange for you to achieve whatever objectives that you have in your mind. Once you detach thoughts from your problems and make a firm decision about the direction in which you wish to go, this is understandable, because each and every one of us has a powerful creative mind power that we have conditioned by fear and ignorance to fail to explore. A veritable treasure house of health, intelligence, and life understanding. The way our mind works is governed by strict universal laws. For whenever you allow your conscious mind to become focused on your problems, you drag your problems into the future with you, and they automatically attract more of the same. Your own negative thought patterns provide the energies that feed your problems and keep them alive. So, just relax and switch the polarity around and focus your thought energy on how you want things to be, rather than how you don't want them to be. And withdraw all of your energy from the problems so you can attract the solutions. And you will attract the solutions, won't you? Like slotting in the final piece of a puzzle, you can reveal the picture that you knew was there all along, waiting to be discovered. The subconscious mind now knows what you want, and what you want, or something even more useful, presents itself, as though what you've always been seeking has somehow always been seeking you. And the incredible fact is that it has. And this is the fresh pattern your subconscious will now carry forward through your life, free from the problems and self-limiting influences that only arose through misunderstandings and false beliefs. You are entering a new world of experience, a new quality of life, a more elevated mental and emotional vantage point from which the best options and opportunities in life are always available, will always be seen. Now, while you're pondering on these thoughts, I want to tell you a story. There were two trees growing by the bank of a river, a tall tree and a small tree. And that small tree, it knew how to wave and dance in the breeze. It knew how to be very flexible, and when the wind blew, it enjoyed changing its perspective. It enjoyed just dancing and moving and dancing. It would see so many things when it changed its perspective. And that big tree was so inflexible. It used to envy the small tree, but it was a little bit scared of changing its perspective. It was a little bit nervous about it. So one day, it asked the small tree, "How do you do that? How do you change the way you see things, the way you enjoy things?" And the little tree said, "Well, you must kind of let go and just let it happen." And so, the next time when that wind blew, the big tree really wanted to let go. And the little tree said, "You can do it. You can make those changes. No need to be afraid. Your roots go down deep into the ground, and you can have inner stability, even though you're moving with the winds of change, enjoying the dance, that inner dance of life, and you can allow it to happen all by itself." And that big tree was so happy, feeling its way into a new way of seeing things. And because it had a new way of seeing things, it also had a new way of recalling things, bringing back images when it wanted to recall the dance. And that big tree also learned, as it got more flexible in its behavior and its perceptions, that what it thought was the horizon was really only a limitation it was placing upon itself. And as it danced and swayed and danced, it could see further and further, fields beyond towns. It could even see the sea in the distance. And it was so happy to have a new way of seeing things. So happy to know that it could recall in a new way pleasant images, pleasant memories. Now, each and everything that you do better than you have ever done before. You approach each new task with complete ease of mind, knowing that you are relaxed and in a perfect frame of mind, calm, relaxed, and confident. Every day your confidence grows. That means tomorrow your confidence grows. and the day after it grows stronger than before. As you practice being more and more confident, so your confidence grows and becomes stronger as more and more your feelings of self-worth become strong and powerful. Each day, with each new situation, whenever you need to, you take control. Calm your mind, disregard your troubles, and you are calm, relaxed, poised, competent and confident. You are your own person.